morning, everybody. Bright and beautiful, what is it, Wednesday morning? Yeah, fantastic. I got a little allergy thing going this morning. I actually went and ran. I think I got it kind of all stirred up, and that's not something I normally do, but I was pretty proud. I did about a mile and a half at a 10-minute, 40-second pace, which I thought was pretty great for someone who has never had an athletic bone in her body. But we're going to zip over to McDonald's and see if they've got their soda situation fixed, carbonated beverages. And so I'll report back on that in a minute here. I wanted to share with you the single best thing I learned in law school. And at least it's because I think I learned it in law school. Part of it's just the way I think. Part of it's the way my mama raised me. But I know that law school definitely honed this skill in. And it has helped me throughout my whole life. It helps me keep my cool. It helps me keep the respect of a lot of other people, I think. And what I think was so incredible that I learned there, yeah, there's no sign about sodas, we're good. Large Diet Coke, please. All right. The best thing I learned in law school that helped me keep an open mind is to see both sides. So you say, okay, great, so I guess being a lawyer you have to see both sides. Yeah, sure. But let's talk specifics. And this is an exercise that you could do with your team. You could do it within your family. You could just do it in your own head too, which would be kind of fun. But then again, I'm weird like that. They would give us, we did what we call mock trial and moot court. People have usually heard the terms, but they don't know the difference. Mock trial is when you pretend you're a trial lawyer and you're questioning literal witnesses who are students who are participating. There's a judge. You have a jury, which typically is just the people who are judging you in this competition. That's mock trial. Moot court is a simulation of the appellate process, which is what happens when something's appealed. So, you know, in the real law, you go and you have a trial, and if one side doesn't like the outcome, this is not criminal, obviously, this is civil, you can appeal it. So this is what happens. You say, you know, I don't like this result, and I think there's case law in my benefit, and I'm going to go not in front of a jury, but just in front of the judge, an appellate court-specific judge, and I'm going to plead my case. So in either event, when it comes time for competition, here's how it goes. They give you 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper, and it's the facts of some imaginary case. So whether it's mock trial or moot court, it doesn't really make a difference. They give you the facts of this case, and they are really good at making the facts very even. The reason they make the facts very even is because it would be unfair if clearly, if it's a criminal case, let's just pretend, or let's say it's a civil case of a woman. I think I remember doing one where a woman was crossing the road and got hit by a car. So the argument was, did she cross, you know, without using caution? Should he? Obviously, you can't hit him anyway, but it was a distribution of guilt kind of situation. I remember doing that one. And because I remember one of the lines I said, because it was kind of funny. One of the guys on the other side, he was all stiff, you know. I don't like looking at that. He was all stiff, and he was like, my mother told me to look before I crossed the road. And I know that all children have been blah, 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 blah. So that's that's what happens on live. Your husband tries to call you. Does that mean he's not watching?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, where were we? So he goes, my mother told me not to always look before I cross the road. I loved it. I got back up and I said, thank you. You got a napkin? That's some stuff all over the side. Thank you, sir. All right. I don't like a sticky cup. It's gross. But as long as it's that, I won't grab too much. My mother told me to cross the road. Look before you do that. So I stood up and I said, my mama told me to look before I cross the road too. Unfortunately, nothing in this case about that. There is absolutely no evidence that my client did not look before he crossed the road. This is all about him looking, using appropriate caution, and still defendant plowing into him and breaking his legs, or whatever the damn you were at the moment. So it was pretty funny. I remember the judges after that one saying that I reminded them, I've never forgotten it. He goes, what's that woman on Designing Women? And of course, it was on back at the time. That shows how old I am. And I said, that character, Delta Burke, who played Suzanne Sugarbaker, he goes, yeah, you remind me of Suzanne Sugarbaker. And I said, well, and he goes, that's a good thing. He said, that's a good thing for you. Other people shouldn't try to do that, but it suits you, it fits you. And then law, we typically would call it folksy, and it's your way, so just go with it. So that was one thing. But now let's get back to the point, the moral which you can use. They went out of their way to make these cases extremely even, not just to give an unfair advantage, but this is the real twister. When you got this, you knew that 1 week you were going to be the plaintiff, and if you advanced, the next time you were swapping sides. So you literally, as you read the facts of anything, had to be, your mindset was already, well, if I'm on this side, I'm going to say this, and if I'm going to that side, I'm going to say that. Are you lying? No, you're highlighting the facts most relevant to your case, and in the light most relevant and helpful to your case. It's the same thing when you're involved in real estate. Sometimes we've laughed before and said, and it's not dishonest, it's just the art of salesmanship and negotiation. We'll have a nice home for sale in the historic area, and we have one right now. We have a few, and a few doors down there's a lot for sale for $425,000. It's a beautiful lot. You know, it's just plain, but it's big, it's historic, and it's on a great block, okay? So I'm not making any beef with that lot. I wish I could just buy it and build a great house there. That'd be fun, but I ain't got time for that. So anyway, what I say about that lot is different depending on who I talk to, and both things are true. When I'm talking to the seller, they naturally will think, well, there's a lot right down there for $425,000. I've got a house, I've got all these things in my yard, I've really improved all this area, but mine's got to be worth way more than that. So I tell them the series of facts which are true, which is, yes, but the person who wants that lot doesn't want your house. They want the lot because they want to build what they want. And if your old home is on it, they are restricted and they can't. They would have to add on. It's a lot more expensive and more difficult. They want to build their McMansion. I'll just use that term, even though I don't mean it to be derogatory. They want to build a big, very expensive home there, and your nice little older home is just going to be in their way. When a buyer comes in and says, why is this house so expensive? I'm going to say, there's a lot down the street for $425,000. That's a lot. Now, you have $200,000 or $300,000. We got a house, we got a pool, we got a yard, entertaining space. So are these things both true? Yes. Now, the problem I see with realtors most especially is they tend to say the wrong thing to the wrong side. They'll tell the sellers, there's a lot down the street for $425,000, so then the seller's naturally thinking, well, mine's worth twice that. And then in truth, the market is different, so no. Or they'll tell the buyer, well, you know, the reason that lot's a lot is because, you know, people would want to build on it. So no, your audience demands to some degree what you say, and both sides are true. Trust me, they gave us very fair facts where you could completely in honesty, because if not, that other side's going to cross-examine the hound out of you. I mean, they know what you're doing, right? So you have to be fair, but the art of persuasion is being able to see both sides. I'm thinking maybe I ought to even come up with a set of facts, or see if I can download one somewhere and we'll have some fun with it and kind of play with that at one point. Maybe that'd be a good podcast to go through. But it's amazing, once you get that training so ingrained in you, it becomes part of your life. And everything, my friends and family would be like, oh, quit being so logical and reasonable. Because no matter what someone says, even when it's against me or whatever, they'll be like normal people. They're like, yeah, they shouldn't do that, or they're doing this to you. And I'm like, yes, but in their defense, they're thinking this and this and this. It doesn't mean I agree, but I know what they're thinking, and this is how they're seeing it. And they're like, oh, you're so annoying. But it helps you get through things better. It helps you anticipate their next step, their next move. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the most useful single skill I have used throughout life, because, you know, you think sales are, oh, that's a salesman's job. It's all sales, man. You need to know that right now. It's all sales. Is that somebody in our backyard over there? I'm going to go, I think there's somebody in my backyard. I digress. Anyway, it's probably just maintenance. So in any event, I just want you to think about that. There's always another side. It doesn't mean your side's wrong and they're right, but if you will stop to think what they're thinking, sometimes you can overcome that by addressing the actual pain points of what's really bothering them. And if you're like most people, you get so emotionally entrenched into your side that you become so about it, people shut you off. Once someone has exaggerated everything to me, you know, it's come up kind of in these politics lately. It's been interesting, because as I would sit down and talk with a few of the candidates, I would tell them, this is my issue. This is my livelihood, is the bed and breakfast industry. And guess what, though? It's my livelihood in my industry, because I believe it's an honorable profession. I'm not running a strip joint. I'm not running something I'm not proud of. I think B&Bs add to our community. I'm proud to stand up for them, or it wouldn't be my profession. So, but when I would sit down with them, I'm always using qualifying language, which diffuses the situation. If I can get face to face, I'm talking with one candidate, and he's like, Tammy, I'm trying to say that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not against B&Bs. He said, you know, I don't want to get rid of B&Bs. I like B&Bs. And I said, okay, I'm going to tell you something because I like you. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Everything you just said there means nothing. And he looked at me so funny. I said, literally, if what you're trying to say is that you agree with me, and I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. That's your conscience. That's your mental process. But if you're telling me and you're truthful that you do agree with me, everything you just said means nothing. He looked at me like, what on earth are you talking about? I said, saying, this is the lawyer, I guess, coming out of me, saying, I don't want to get rid of B&Bs may mean, I don't want to get rid of B&Bs. I just don't want them in R1. I want them on Main Street. Saying, I like B&Bs can mean, I like B&Bs as long as they stay out of our neighborhoods and they're on Main Street. So saying, I don't want to get rid of B&Bs. I like B&Bs. I said, literally, you're telling me nothing. I said, if you're telling me what I believe, which is that they should stay the way they've always been in the historic areas, abiding by the rules, being proper zoning, nothing illegal, the way it's always been, if that's truly what you believe, then the words you need to use are, I don't want to change anything. I am happy the way it is. I don't want to change R1 zoning to say B&Bs can no longer be there. I want to keep things the way they are. I support B&Bs being in R1 zoning. People, your vague language, maybe it works for some politicians because it can be read different ways, but if you're dealing with a formidable foe, or just someone with any sense, I guess, to say you don't want to get rid of all the B&Bs, what did you really just tell me? You're just flapping your gums, as we'd say back in East Texas. So in any event, my point really is if you can see both sides, I said, you know what? This is great because the reason I have you here is sometimes you're using a word one way, I'm using it another, and maybe we're meaning the same thing. And isn't that great? But I always qualify. And if not, and you totally disagree with me, that's okay too. We can still shake hands and be friends. And I can respect you. But so don't give me lip service. I'll respect you more if I know you're telling me the truth, regardless of what your opinion is. But use your words carefully if you are trying to relay something in just a few words. So I think it was helpful. And I hope that candidate at least left thinking, okay, this person isn't out to get me. They're just saying, look, you're throwing some words around pretty carelessly, and turns out now you're telling me that's not the way you mean that word at all. And, there's little words that don't mean much. There's nuanced words, and then there's big words, kind of like as if the word were like destroy or restrict. So those are big words, not what this person was using, but it had really the same effect. So we had a great meeting, saw both sides, and I'm always assuring them, I know the other side. I understand. I'm looking for that compromised position in between. You don't want loud people. I don't want loud people. You don't like drunks walking up and down the street. I really don't want drunks walking up and down the street. I live in the historic district, okay? Or area. It's not technically. I think I'm a block off. So I hope that's of some use to you guys. And if you think that would be fun to do an exercise where we get some facts, a really short abbreviated version of that, and kind of play with it, I would love to do that. I am like 6 weeks behind on my podcast. I'm so sorry. The guy keeps going, when's the first episode? I was like, I got to get it right, but I promise it'll be soon. So more good stuff coming today. Love you guys for joining me. Thank you so much. Your comments and likes and shares mean the world to me and just encourage me to keep going and share whatever bit I've learned in this life and the benefits of 51 years of experience. And I hope it's brought some value to you today. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.